Hey everybody, welcome back to another video, and in this video today, we are taking a break from Markiplier theories, and instead, we are going to be ranking all of the Markiplier lore videos. And before we begin, shout out to Excaliburistic for suggesting this video, and also I will not be ranking every single Markiplier lore video, because there is so much out there, so many, and most of them don't even matter that much to the lore yet. So instead I'm going to be ranking the top 8 most important videos to the Markiplier lore. Those being Who Killed Markiplier, Wilfred Motherloving Wharfstache, Jim News, Damien, A Heist with Markiplier, In Space with Markiplier, A Date with Markiplier, and Markiplier TV. And also, if one of those spreads into multiple videos, like for example, Who Killed Markiplier has 4 chapters, each chapter being a separate video, or how In Space with Markiplier has 2 parts, I'm going to be counting those 2 parts as just one in the list. I'm going to be counting the 4 chapters of Who Killed Markiplier as just one thing, as if it was just one video in the list. So without further ado, let's begin. Coming in at number 8, we got Jim News. Now don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Jim and all the Jim News videos, but I mean, the list has to start somewhere. For those of y'all who don't know what the Jim News videos are, pretty much in between each Who Killed Markiplier chapter, there's also a video that's just like a couple minutes long about a different Markiplier played character in his universe called Jim, the newscaster. To be honest, this doesn't really add too much to the lore and is mainly just there for comic relief, but it is still really good. There hasn't been a single Markiplier lore project that he made that I genuinely dislike. It's just the fact that every other Markiplier project is so well made, so thought out, that this one has to unfortunately go into the worst spot. Now coming in at number 7, we got Markiplier TV. So this Markiplier video has a kind of more old-timey TV theme to it, where it's like you're flipping through different episodes or channels of different things. Like 1 second, you're seeing a Jim news reporter talking about the weather, and then the next second, you see Wilfred Wharfstache shooting someone on TV. It is pretty funny, but doesn't have too much to do with the lore until near the end, where it's finally revealed that everything you've been watching up to this point was actually just something Wilfred Wharfstache made to try to help him, along with a group of lots of other Markiplier characters, take back control of the channel.
Wilfred, I appreciate what you've done for us, but how is it supposed to help us take back control?
This video does seem different than most of the other videos in the Markiplier lore. Like, this one seems to have a more different atmosphere than all the other Markiplier made projects. And most of the characters who seem to be in this Sinister Six type deal for Markiplier characters aren't really that important to the lore yet. I mean, the only ones that really matter to the lore are Darkiplier, Wilfred Wharfstache, and Jim. But the rest of them don't really show up any more than this video and maybe a couple other videos. And you have to put the time of date that this video was made into consideration, because back whenever he made this, he didn't have as much of the lore planned out or fully made yet. So I feel like now, with all these other Markiplier projects bringing even more characters played by Markiplier, now would definitely be a way better time to do a video like this. But no matter what type of criticism I have for this video, I definitely have to give it props for having Darkiplier and Wilfred Wharfstache in the same room together, interacting with each other. And you know, this video was also definitely one that made fans kind of think, hey, there is a bigger picture, a bigger lore going on here than we realize. This kind of made people start considering the fact that there is a bigger story here. However, I still feel like if Markiplier continues going down this route of having a sort of evil group of Markiplier acted characters, I feel like he should at least upgrade the characters to where it's more newer Markiplier acted characters who have appeared in newer stuff and are more fleshed out already in the lore itself. Either that, or he should start introducing those older characters in that video back into the Markiplier lore and giving them a purpose. But anyways, let's move on. And at number 6, we got A Date with Markiplier. So this one is one of Markiplier's earlier projects that has the choose your own adventure type style. And I'm not saying that's bad, but Markiplier has definitely evolved over time. And this one is pretty self-explanatory. It's a bit of a stereotypical date. Well, besides the fact that you get kidnapped by a murderer chef, have to choose whether you should shoot Markiplier or Darkiplier, and get teleported into a dimension with a floating Wilford Warfstache head. There are lots of things that are important and good for the lore, but that might be the problem with this. It's not really much of a self-contained story as much as it's something that just really adds on to the lore a lot. I mean, it's still self-contained enough to where it's not too confusing, but I do feel like you would enjoy this experience better if you actually knew the Markiplier lore versus not knowing anything about Markiplier before watching this. But like I mentioned earlier, this is one of Markiplier's earlier projects. This one specifically was back in 2017, which was the first year he actually started doing Markiplier's projects and stuff specifically for the lore. And this whole time, I've been kind of harsh on A Date with Markiplier, but the truth is, it's really good for what it strives to be, especially for one of the very earlier Markiplier projects. But anyways, let's move on to number 5. And number 5 is actually Damien. Now, Damien's probably the most unique one out of all the Markiplier videos, and the reason is because of the art style. The art style kind of reminds me a bit of a comic book or a graphic novel, the way it seems like a lot of images instead of some live-action first-person deal. And the way I'm describing it right now doesn't do it justice. You can see what I mean in the background of this video. Now, this video actually revealed a lot for the Markiplier lore, like the fact that Damien and Celine are actually siblings. But if you thought A Date with Markiplier was sort of confusing without knowing the lore, this one's gonna be really confusing. I ended up dedicating a whole YouTube video just to find out where this video fits in the timeline. But again, the art style is amazing. And there are a few scenes in here that are actually genuinely emotional, especially near the end. Plus, overall, this video does give us even more of the kind of relationship that Celine and Damien have with each other, which is just awesome. I've always liked the Celine and Damien kind of duo, although there is a different duo in the Markiplier universe that I like even better, but we're going to get to that later on in the video. So overall, the Damien video is pretty good and is also a unique addition to the Markiplier lore videos. And at number 4, we got A Heist with Markiplier. Now, I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure this is Markiplier's first YouTube Originals video, and boy did he do a good job about it. There are so much good and amazing scenes, so many paths to take with 31 different endings. At the time it was released, it was truly his biggest and polished project yet. This is also the first Markiplier project to introduce many new staples to the Markiplier lore. These include characters like Yancey, the Indiana Jones looking dude, and it even was the first project Markiplier made that introduced the blue crystal. You know, the thing that makes solving the timeline of this lore impossible. There's also lots of super funny moments throughout the videos as well, but I guess you could say that for anything Markiplier makes. So all in all, there isn't really anything bad about this, but it's still only on spot number 4 because almost anything Markiplier makes doesn't really have any problems with it. So let's move on. Getting close to the end at number 3, we got Who Killed Markiplier. Now this one is one of the first Markiplier lore videos I've actually ever seen, so I might be a bit biased when it comes to this one and one of the next ones coming up. But pretty much Who Killed Markiplier lays the groundwork for everything else in the Markiplier timeline. This video tells us the origins of Wilfred Warfstache and Darkiplier, two of the most famous Markiplier characters out there. So that alone already puts this video extremely high on the list. The comedy is amazing, the kind of twists and surprises are amazing, and my favorite part has to be the scene where everybody's all drunk and partying and stuff, that little tiny montage they have in the first chapter. This video is by far the most important project Markiplier made for the Markiplier lore. However, there are still 2 more videos Markiplier made that I think are superior. So coming in at number 2, we have Wilfred Mother-Loving Warfstache. Now, a lot of y'all might disagree with me, but that's just my opinion. I think Wilfred Mother-Loving Warfstache is better than the 4 chapters of Who Killed Markiplier. And the reason I think this is mainly because I like the duo of Abe and Wilfred Warfstache. They really do give off a kind of love-hate friendship. And I'm not going to say relationship because I'm not turning this gay. This is not gay, so don't think it is. And like I said with Who Killed Markiplier, I'm also pretty biased about this video as well because this was also one of the first ever Markiplier lore videos I ever watched. Plus, this video also introduced those weird, confusing Markiplier mask things that In Space with Markiplier says it connects all the lore together or something. I don't know, I'm still trying to figure that out. But I will be making a new Markiplier theory all about Wilfred Mother-Loving Warfstache and the Wilfred Warfstache character himself, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But anyways, let's move on to number 1. At this point, y'all already know what number 1 is. Number 1 will be In Space with Markiplier. This is Markiplier's latest and best project yet. It is so high quality, it challenges Marvel movies. The story's pretty confusing, but once you get the hang of it, you will definitely enjoy it. It is such an adventure and has the perfect amount of comedy, action, and sadness. Part 1 alone is pretty confusing, and the ending seems kinda incomplete. But Markiplier purposely made it that way, so that way Part 2 actually tied together and connected a lot of unsolved mysteries. We also got to see the return of Chef and Abe and a lot of other memorable characters, so that's really cool. So yeah, and again, I just want to say, none of these Markiplier projects are really bad per se. I just like some over others, but that's just my opinion. But anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did enjoy, and also leave your own ranking of the Markiplier lore videos in the comments down below, and I'll see y'all in the next video.